From Red Zone Weather in Bruton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Meganson. Severe weather coverage starts right now.
2:02 p.m. and we're tracking a possible tornado near Fruitdale on this Tuesday afternoon. A tornado warning now in effect for parts of Washington County over in West Alabama. Call to action for Fruitdale and Chatham in Washington County. Hope you're having a nice Tuesday afternoon. This is a call to action, meaning we need you to take action to protect yourself as we have a possible tornado moving toward the city of Chatham in West Alabama. Let's go ahead and show you exactly who's involved in this tornado warning, because this is a supercell thunderstorm that is fired up near Fruitdale, and this is moving basically to the northeast at 25 miles per hour toward the city of Chatham. And so this is a call to action for West Alabama, possible tornado at Fruitdale moving towards Chatham, and this polygon also does include the community of Tibby. First thing we need to do is tell you exactly who's involved in this tornado warning. We actually have two of them. First tornado warning about 30 minutes ago was issued for parts of Greene County, Mississippi. And the second warning has been issued for parts of Washington County over in West Alabama. This is going to be on the board until 2:30 local time. So again, tornado warning for parts of Washington County until 2:30. Possible tornadoes moving off to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. And let's go ahead and show you exactly what's happening here with this supercell storm that has developed. I know that we have a lot of folks watching from around the region, and I promise before we get out of this round of coverage, we'll talk about what's ahead, because we've got an active weather day, an active weather evening, and an active weather night into tomorrow morning ahead of us. And I think by the time we get to, say, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll be in much better shape. But the next 24 hours are going to be an active weather period. So please have a way to get warnings just like this one. Again, supercell storm has formed over here in Washington County. Possible tornadoes going to be on the southern side of this, very near Fruitdale and Escatawpa, moving just like this. This is going to be approaching Tibby and also Chatham over the next few minutes. Again, this is a tornado warning, not a watch yet, which means we have to take action. In other words, what's happened here, this warning has come on the board before the tornado watch, and sometimes that does indeed happen. Tell you what, let's tell you who's involved in this first, and then I want to tell you exactly what to do. Tibby, also areas near Fruitdale, Escatawpa. If you're in Chatham, this is so close, I would be implementing my tornado safe place plan right now. So again, Chatham, Fruitdale, Tibby over here in Washington County in West Alabama, you need to be taking action to protect yourself as we have a possible tornado moving in from the southwest. Again, two tornado warning polygons, large complex of two supercell storms moving to the northeast, I should say. Tell you what, if you'll take me back over to the the radar scope source, please. We actually have two distinct circulations here over in Washington County. Here's one and here's two. So again, two possible tornadoes now happening in West Alabama right now, moving toward the city of Chatham. If you know someone in the city of Chatham, Alabama, call them, text them, tag them in the comments below. You can be the hero. We can, be in the studio all night long talking about tornadoes, but if it doesn't get to the right folks, it doesn't matter. So again, help us out and tag folks in Chatham, if you will, because they are in imminent danger from what could be two possible tornadoes. Let's go back over to LD1. And again, tracking this supercell storm in Washington County. While we look at that, I do want to show you what's happening around the region because we do have other storms developing in parts of Monroe, Santa Rosa, both Escambia counties, and also Covington, and really across the region. We got storms firing up in every county on this Tuesday afternoon, and some of these may become severe over the next few minutes. If you'll take down that banner for me, please, ma'am. We'll zoom into Monroe County because I do want to check on these storms as well. You've got some loud storms approaching Monroeville from the southeast. You've also got storms down here in the southern part of the county moving towards Uri, Goodway, McGargle, Homewood, Eliska as well in southern Monroe County. But this one is going to bring some heavy rain, gusty winds to Monroeville over the next few minutes. Let's actually go back to the radar scope source because I do want to see if those storms are rotating. No, they're not. I don't see really any, clear-cut signs of any imminent concerns in Monroe County. So let's stick with our storm over in West Alabama. I tell you what, that thing is tight right there. That is a tight couplet on radar. And this thing is moving basically to the northeast, toward Chatham and toward Alabama Highway 17. Back over to LD1. And again, we're tracking a storm in Washington County, large county over in West Alabama. Tell you what, let's put up our tornado warning banner for folks that may be joining us from Washington County and really around the world. We get so many folks watching these streams from Southwest Alabama, Northwest Florida, and around the world, really. And we're tracking 2 supercell thunderstorms over here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. This one is the one that we care about, though. This is in Washington County. What happens here at Greene County, Mississippi, Wayne County, Mississippi here, once these storms move out of Mississippi, they move into our primary coverage zone. And so what that means is if you are in Chatham or areas near Tibby or Fruitdale even, you need to be in a tornado-safe place. Hang out in that tornado-safe place for the next few minutes. This is not going to be a long-duration deal today. Now, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a long-duration event with multiple warnings being possible, but this particular warning is a short-fuse warning, meaning it won't last too terribly long. I tell you what, take me over to the radar scope source because I want to go back to velocity. Look at this. Radar detecting upwards of 109 per hour wind. And keep in mind, this is, 2,000-3,000 feet above the surface of the earth, but still, that is a clear-cut indication that we may have a tornado down over here in Washington County. And look, it's only 2:09 in the afternoon. This is going to be a long duration day, night, and event. With these cells streaming in from the southwest. And by the way, let's look downwind of this. I really don't see anything in Mississippi that's, an imminent concern beyond this cell. The better dynamics of this system are to the north. The better thermodynamics are happening to the south. It's a classic situation there, but it does look like in our local area, Washington, Clark County is going to probably have the greatest risk of tornadoes over the next several hours and into Wednesday morning. We've got a lot of weather still ahead of us in terms of active weather coming through. And again, the call to action is for areas near Chatham. That right there is a likely tornado coming into areas near Tibby and Chatham, approaching Alabama Highway 17. This is Chatham, this is Alabama Highway 17, this is Alabama Highway 56 up here. And so we are encouraging everyone near Chatham, especially on the south side of town, near the airport and out towards Tibby on 17, be in a tornado-safe place. No doubt about it. Weather Service sending a message saying that they're going to continue this tornado warning, as it does look like this cell very well could be producing a tornado. Let's go back over to LD1 while I check out a few things. Bentley, are you seeing anything in the Facebook Live comments that would suggest that we have damage at this point? Seeing anything there? All right, good. Let's hope we keep it that way because these storms certainly mean business today. And again, it's going to be a very long 24-hour period, so you might as well buckle up, have a way to get warnings certainly over the next several hours as we continue to track these storms over in West Alabama. It's interesting because Washington County is a very large county by area in the state of Alabama, but it's also one of the more sparsely populated counties. There's only, 18,000 people in the whole county of Washington County. And so what that means is the reports over here may be a bit more delayed compared to some of our more highly populated areas. Even Clark County is a bit more highly populated compared to Washington County. No tornado warning, by the way, for Clark at this point, but we are tracking a supercell storm now in western Washington County that's approaching Chatham and Tibby over the next few minutes. By the way, good news, this warning over here in Mississippi in Greene County is being allowed to expire at 2:15 p.m. So the warning in Greene is being allowed to expire in 4 minutes at 2:15 p.m. Let's check out our correlation coefficient and see if we see anything there. Yeah, I don't. And this is the product we look at to see if debris is being lofted into the sky. Sometimes you don't see that because the circulation, the tornado may be impacting the surface of the earth, but the debris may not be lofted to the height that the radar beam is hitting this. And so I say that to say we're watching this product very carefully, but at this moment, I don't really see anything that would suggest a debris signature, which is good. And I tell you, this is a really messy looking supercell on reflectivity. It's really near impossible to see the rotation on this view. And so I want to go back to the radar scope source, if we can, please, ma'am, because again, this thing is tight. I mean, it's real tight, coming into areas near Chatham and Tibby along State Highway 17 in the next few minutes. And so again, we would encourage everyone in Chatham, Tibby, areas near the Chatham Airport, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is branded as I think it's the Roy Wilcox Airport is what they call that over there, 5R1. But folks near the Washington County High School near Chatham, you need to be implementing that tornado safety plan. It looks like the core of the circulation may pass a bit to the south of Chatham, perhaps out here towards Tibby Baptist Church. Tibby's here, the Baptist Church is right here. This thing is going to be very close to Tibby Baptist Church in West Alabama over the next few minutes. And so if you live within 5 miles in any given direction of Tibby Baptist Church right here on Alabama Highway 17, you need to be implementing that tornado safety plan now, right now. Don't wait, don't play with this thing. This is a day where these tornadoes really could mean business. In fact, if you will, let's go over to our graphics and show the folks in Tibby and Chatham what you need to be doing right now. Best possible thing on this list, you know what I'm going to say if you've been watching for a long time, you've got to protect your head. If you can do that, I promise you will be in much better shape. If you don't have a helmet, that's okay. Grab a cooking pot. You got to have something to protect your head. Most folks that have problems in tornadoes, it happens because of blunt force trauma to the head. And so protect your head. You want to be on the lowest floor, site-built structure away from windows and doors, putting as many walls as you can between you and the outside world. Take a screenshot of this if you need to in the next 5 seconds, as it does look like Chatham and Tibby going to be taking the brunt of this supercell storm over the next few minutes. Let's go back over to LD1. And again, tracking our first tornado warning of the day in parts of Washington County. This warning has been trimmed back. And again, here's Chatham. Here's the Roy Wilcox Airport right here. Possible tornado is going to be right here, very near Tibby. And I would imagine that with this signature, it looks like the Weather Service may potentially extend this. Now, we'll see over the next few frames if that indeed happens. Let's go back over to the radar scope source, and I'll tell you why I think that. Let's put this in motion briefly. Here's your couplet moving to the northeast just like that. And I say that, it looks like it actually is weakening over the last few frames, which is a good thing. And so we will see if the Weather Service decides to extend this warning downwind. By the way, if they do, it's going to look something like this. You would have a polygon that includes areas most likely near St. Stephen's and perhaps areas as far east as Leroy or Wagerville. This is State Highway 56 right here. Alabama Highway 17 is here. Chatham Airport, Roy Wilcox Airport right here. This is going to be very near that airport over the next 5 minutes. So again, if you live near Tibby Baptist Church or the Roy Wilcox Airport over here in West Alabama, it's basically a landing strip out here just on the south side of 56. If you know where I'm talking about, you be in a safe place, all right? Don't play with this as we've got a possible tornado, and I tell you, that thing's ramping right back up. It's going to be a situation where we have cyclical storms today. They cycle up, they cycle down very quickly. Let's go back over to LD1. And I tell you, that thing has kind of a notch on it at this point on reflectivity, which does suggest that we may get a new warning shortly. So let's kind of stand by and see about that. Again, Chatham and Tibby be in a safe place. Let's check on our other storms around the region. First, let's go into Crenshaw and Covington counties in Butler. These are simply heavier showers, all right? So if you're in Andalusia, Strawn, areas near Gant Lake, Clearview, Luverne, also areas up here near exit 142, which is the Fort Deposit exit on I-65, general showers. You've got nothing to worry about right now. Let's go over to our storms in Monroe County. Again, heavier action going to approach Monroeville from the south, and I say heavier action, I mean heavier rain is going to move in from the south over the next 5 minutes. So heavy downpours of rain coming into Monroeville. You've also got storms coming back into the greater Bruton area, East Bruton, Riverview from the south. We'll check on that storm and see if it's rotating in just a minute. You've also got a heavier storm happening near the Dolly Parton Bridge, Stockton coming into areas near Tensas over the next few minutes. Again, one warning on the board as of, what time is it? 2:17 p.m. And again, we're tracking a storm in Washington County that has prompted a tornado warning. So let's zoom in on that. You see that notch right there? That could be a telltale sign that we've got a tornado happening right here on the south side of this supercell thunderstorm. And this is going to move just like that, all right? Basically hugging the southern edge of that polygon. Wouldn't be surprised over the next few minutes if we got a new warning downwind of that. Let's go back over to the radar scope source. And again, this is just speculation, but you may get a new polygon that looks something like that, all right? Downwind of this. Coming into areas near the airport on the east side of town from Chatham, coming out here towards St. Stephen's, and we will have to see if this holds itself together, because if it does, it potentially could be an issue for Clark County, Alabama in the next few minutes. Let's go back over to LD1 as we continue to watch this storm on reflectivity as well. Again, tracking supercells moving in from Mississippi on this Tuesday afternoon. Current time is 2:18 p.m. And I tell you what, we've got warnings going nuts over in Mississippi. We got a ton of tornado warnings happening at this point. And I say that, I actually see 2 severe thunderstorm warnings happening in North Alabama right now. Is LD2 up as a source, or does it? Yeah, take me over to LD2. Let's look at that. And yeah, let's go back over to LD1. That's what was happening earlier. I'm not really sure what's happening with that particular computer, but again, tracking a tornado over in West Alabama, possible tornado at this point. And again, that reflectivity signature continues to be fairly impressive. Your possible tornado would be on the south side of Chatham, but we're encouraging everyone in the city of Chatham and out by the airport to be in a safe place. Looks like this will pass just a bit to the north of Tibby, out toward the Tibby Baptist Church. But again, if I'm there, you better believe that I'm staying in my tornado safe place over the next few minutes, as this passes very near your area. Could have high winds in this storm. And I tell you, that thing is it's just trucking along to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So we're going to see if the Weather Service decides to extend this warning downwind. If they do, that's going to include places like Hobson and also St. Stephen's in Washington County. You would be next in line to see this possible tornado. Bentley, are you seeing anything in the comments on Facebook that would suggest that we're having damage at this point? Good. Any reports of note? Nope. All right. Let's hope we keep it that way. Again, like we said, this is in a very sparsely populated part of West Alabama, and the reports may be a bit delayed coming in. Let's see if I can, if you'll take me back to the iPad for a second, please, ma'am. I want to see if I can show the convective outlook, the latest one that we've got. Yeah, there we go. So let's go back over to LD1, and I'll show you the latest convective outlook, because this has changed over the last few hours. This is a pretty rare day because we have a level 4 out of 5 severe weather risk happening across parts of Louisiana, far southeastern Arkansas, much of Mississippi, and now parts of northwest Alabama involved in that higher significant level 4 out of 5 severe weather risk zone. You note in our local area, it's a level 2 out of 5 risk day, but like I always say, it does not matter what color or number risk you're involved in. We all have a severe weather risk today, exactly like what we're seeing here in Washington County with this tornado warning in effect. There's your convective outlook, but look at where the tornado warnings are happening. One happening here in Mississippi in the core of that risk zone. Here's one. This is a tornado warning in the level 3 risk, and we've got one in the level 2 risk. And so again, it does not matter what color or number you are in today. you're involved in a severe weather risk. By the way, we've got a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch in effect for much of Louisiana, northern Louisiana, and big chunk of Mississippi. Several tornado warnings involved over there. But again, we are here to track this possible tornado very near Chatham at this point. And the couplet continues to maintain itself, but the intensity of that couplet overall appears to be fading somewhat, or at least it has over the last few minutes. So we're going to see at 2:30 if the Weather Service decides to expire this or if they're going to issue a new warning. Let's go ahead and show you what's happening across the region. Yeah, and they're indicating in chat just now that most likely they're going to let this go at 2:30 because the rotation is a bit more broad. Again, watching cells across the region develop, but the good news is the Weather Service is noting somewhat of a weakening trend of this tornado-warned storm in Washington County. We're going to hang with this until 2:30 just to make sure that this thing kind of fades on out. And the hope is not a plan, as we know. We got to have a plan. But the hope over the next few hours is that the remainder of these storms remain under severe limits. The air out here over south central Alabama and northwest Florida is a bit more stable compared to the air back here over west Alabama. These storms that prompted the tornado warnings are in an environment that's a bit more conducive for tornadoes over the next several hours. And so what I'm really going to be watching over the next few hours is this zone back here in southeast Mississippi, because anything that develops in parts of Stone, George, Greene counties, we really need to watch as it approaches west Alabama, specifically Washington, Clark, and Choctaw counties, as that's kind of going to be the hot zone over the next few hours for severe weather in our local area. I see we've got a new warning back behind me, just to the west of Macomb, Mississippi. So again, a new tornado warning over in Mississippi near Macomb. We also note that there's a tornado warning happening north of Yazoo City in Mississippi as well. And look, they're gonna have tornado warning polygons coming left and right in this zone. This is a PDS, particularly dangerous situation tornado watch. And I have had several questions on if we're going to get a PDS watch here. The answer is no, probably not. The air where we are is much more stable compared to the air back over west Alabama. And by the way, for those of you that may be joining us for the first time, the policy around here is anytime we have a tornado warning for any part of our 12 counties here in South Alabama or Northwest Florida, we go live and stay live until the warning is over. And again, hopefully this thing in Washington County in the next 4 minutes will be allowed to expire. That's kind of what the Weather Service is indicating. We'll go ahead and zoom in real tight to Chatham because this circulation is now in the southeast part of Chatham. Washington County High School sits right there. That's Washington County High School along State Highway 56. And what's happening here, the circulation is passing about half a mile or a mile to the southeast of that high school. And so, yes, you've got very heavy rain. You may even have some small hail in Chatham over the next few minutes, but the tornado risk is going to end up out here near the Roy Wilcox Airport. And so State Highway 56, I would not be traveling over the next 10 minutes. In other words, if you're at 43 wanting to come over on 56 to Chatham, I would just give it, 10, 20 minutes and let's let this cell kind of get north of 56, and then you should be in much better shape. Yeah, if you'll take me back over to the radar scope source, I'll show you exactly why they're going to allow this thing to expire. Couplet right there north of Highway 45 in Washington County, and then watch what happens. Kind of fizzles out. I mean, it's still there, no doubt about it. This storm is rotating basically right over Chatham. There is broad rotation in the atmosphere, but the Weather Service in their assessment, and I think it's a good assessment, by the way, they are suggesting that this is much more broad at this point, and they are not going to issue a downstream warning as of now. And by the way, the more this thing goes to the northeast, the more it becomes in a much more, in more of a stable air mass as it crosses the Tombigbee River and comes into Clark County. Now, don't get me wrong, we can see things change just like what we saw 30 minutes ago with this cell very quickly. And so you got to have a way to get warnings. But nonetheless, I think this cell may be on its last leg as it approaches areas near Hobson in Washington County. Monroeville's in good shape right now. Same thing in Bruton. Yes, you've got some rain around. Tiny rotation happening very near Stockton and Baldwin County. That is under severe limits. Clearly, this is the main concern right now. And you see the polygon has just actually gone off of the board on radar scope. Let's see if we can go back to LD1. And we'll show you, yeah, the polygon's gone. So no more tornado warning. You are done with the tornado warning in Washington County. So first tornado warning of the day. We are done with it, D-O-N-E. Now let's look across the region because these thunderstorms are going to continue to move to the northeast. Over the next few hours, what you can expect is more of the same. We may see more thunderstorms fire up here across southeast Mississippi that move into west Alabama and prompt more in the way of tornado warnings. I think that if we see warnings over the next 2 to 3 hours, most likely to happen in northern Mobile, Washington, Clark, Marengo, and Choctaw counties to the west of the Alabama River. And certainly in southeast Mississippi, be on guard because any cells that develop over here have a very right environment to develop. The storm's currently happening in parts of Escambia, Conecuh, Monroe, Covington, Butler, Crenshaw, and northwest Florida. All those are under severe limits. And so you're in good shape right now if you are in those areas. Did you have something before we get out of here? Alrighty, well here's the plan of action. We are going to go back to covering storms in the Red Zone Weather app because we don't have any active tornado warnings. Of course, if we have more warnings, we'll come back on and bring you the very latest. If you will, in that top actually, you know what? We've got a new warning. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning. And you know what? If there ever was a time that you're going to get a new warning, it's always when we are trying to go off the air. That's just the way it goes. That new warning that you're hearing is a new severe thunderstorm warning. And let's go ahead and look at that because this is going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for parts of Clark and Washington counties. Yeah, and you know what? Let's keep it here because what they're doing, they are choosing to issue a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning. And I think that is probably the best decision. What they're indicating is that the updraft in this storm has quickly strengthened again, and they're going to watch this over the next few minutes to see if we have a new tornado warning come on the board. This new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, is in effect until 3:15 local time. And you notice how in the text they say tornado possible. So yes, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, but this is specifically a severe thunderstorm warning that could be producing a tornado. And you may be wondering, well, Spinks, why in the world is there not a tornado warning out for that if a tornado is possible? The reason for that is the confidence is not high enough for the Weather Service to issue a tornado warning just yet. And so often what they'll do is put out a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of the issuance of a tornado warning. So I think it's prudent if we kind of hang out here for a second. Again, no active tornado warnings at this specific moment anyway, but that could change over the next few minutes. By the way, if I go silent, what I'm doing right now is sending out our handcrafted app alerts for Washington and Clark counties over in West Alabama. And again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's tell you who's involved in this first because no more tornado warning. But if you're in Chatham, Hobson, St. Stephen's, Silitfa, Bigby, areas near the Roy Wilcox Airport and Alabama Highway 56, and also Leroy, you're involved in this severe thunderstorm warning that's valid until 3:15 p.m. So again, severe thunderstorm warning for West Alabama until 3:15 p.m. Let's go back over to our radar source there. And you can see that this thing is still broadly rotating right about there. And I mean, this thing is just, you know, it's rotating like a top in the atmosphere. Plenty of rotation up here, not as much down here right now, but that could quickly change. And with that said, we may get a new new tornado warning as this tracks off to the northeast. Seeing anything on the Facebook Live comments, Bentley? It's a quiet afternoon so far then. And that's a good thing. I've heard of nothing in the way of damage as of yet. I'm scrolling through on Twitter on our lists to see if there's anything there, and the good news is I really don't see much in the way of traffic at this point. Back over to LV1, again, tracking this supercell storm in West Alabama. My Twitter feed right now is a mix between severe weather coverage from around the southeast with this big severe weather event, and of course the big non-weather news of the day is the Auburn hire. Hugh Freeze, the new coach at Auburn University for the football team. We'll let Twitter deal with that. But again, tracking a storm over in West Alabama that could be producing damaging straight-line winds near Hobson and also near the Chatham Airport right here. You see these darker shades of purple, pink, and even some white in the reflectivity. That is indicative of areas where we could have large hail happening now. And when I say large hail, perhaps up to the size of a quarter, maybe even larger, as it looks like we're having a hail core develop in this storm. So again, this is the only warning that we've got on the board. We're watching out for our friends in Monroeville. Heavier storm moving through Monroeville, areas near the Courthouse Square, areas near South Alabama Kubota, red zone weather sponsor there along Alabama Highway 21, areas near Ollie and the airport on the south side of town, heavier rain, but this storm is under severe limits. You've also got heavier rain falling right now in East Bruton back down to Pollard. But again, the only warned storm that we have on the board is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Washington and Clark counties in West Alabama. And usually what happens here is when we lose the tornado warning, we go away off your live stream. But because the Weather Service is indicating that they may need to issue another separate tornado warning, we're going to hang out here for the next few minutes and kind of track this storm together and see what is going to happen. I see that we've got a report from Hobson over in Washington County that it is raining really hard right now, but so far, so good. And again, Hobson on the map is going to be right about here, right there in the core of that storm. And so for folks in Hobson, look at that. Look at your strike counter up here. Upwards of 500 strikes of lightning, cloud to cloud and cloud to ground, over the last 10 minutes. This thing is outputting some lightning and very loud thunder over in Washington County, Alabama right now. 2:35 p.m. on this Tuesday afternoon, and let's look at it on velocity. Yeah, it's still there. This circulation is still there. And again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is not a tornado warning. But what's happened here, there's still enough rotation to warrant a warning, all right? So what they're doing, they're calling this a severe thunderstorm warning, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour near Hobson, near the airport, the Roy Wilcox Airport there in Washington County over the next few minutes being the concerns. Yeah, and these are going to be what we call HP supercells today. In other words, high precipitation. These things are outputting a lot of rain. I mean, the core of this, your rain rates are just excessive. I mean, they are quite high as this thing continues to push off to the northeast at about 35 miles an hour. And looking like we could have some hail in this storm as well. Let's see if we can go over to our VIL product and look at that. This is the hail product, VIL, if that will load, and see if we can, yeah, that's a derived product. It's not going to load. Tell you what, take me back over to radar scope, if you will, please. And it's certainly going to load on there. Look at that. That right there is indicative of what could be large hail happening near Hobson and Chatham, moving off to the northeast. So not only are you looking at damaging straight line winds, you're also looking at a situation where we could have some large hail in through here as this storm continues to move off to the northeast. I tell you, that thing is really wanting to move to the right. That's been a trend that I've noticed over the last 45 minutes since this has been in existence. And this is really hugging the southern side of these polygons. And so with that said, we'll need to watch this because on that trajectory, this thing may approach Leroy and Jackson in the next 20 minutes. I'm putting you on notice. If you're at Leroy or Jackson, just know there may be hail, there may be gusty winds. Can't completely rule out a tornado with this as it continues marching off to the northeast. Let's go back over to our big radar, LB1 please. And we'll put this in motion as we continue to track a frustratingly persistent supercell in West Alabama. This thing is not going away without a fight. And right now the fight is on the southern side of this. Right there is your notch. And this indicates that this storm is rotating broadly at this point. No tornado warning as of 2:37 p.m. But nonetheless, I'm looking at it on velocity and I'm clearly seeing signs of rotation. And no doubt this thing could be producing damaging straight line winds coming into areas near St. Stephen's, and Leroy is involved in this severe thunderstorm warning. And so if I'm at Leroy, you need to be getting ready for a nasty storm to move in from the west over the next few minutes. St. Stephen's as well. Same thing on Alabama Highway 56. No travel is advised from Chatham all the way back over to Wagerville. I would not be traveling on US Highway 43 from Wagerville back up to Grove Hill, as this storm is basically going to cross that area coming into Jackson and Toddtown over the next few minutes. I'll tell you what's going to happen. If we end the feed, there will be a new tornado warning. That's what's going to happen. But that's just always the way it goes. But what we're going to do, we're going to continue to watch this. Again, no active tornado warnings as of 2:38 p.m. There are no tornado warnings anywhere in South Alabama or Northwest Florida. There is this severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 3:15 local time. Due to this supercell storm, you could have gusty winds, you could have large hail pushing into areas near Jackson and areas near Leroy and Salitpa near the Tombigbee River in Clark County over the next few minutes. But at this moment, there is no tornado warning. And because of that, what we're going to do is go back into the Red Zone Weather app and cover these storms. Of course, if we have another tornado warning, we'll come straight back on Facebook Live to bring you the very latest on the very top layer up there. If you'll mash ending, tell me when you do that. And we'll be back with more warning coverage if we have tornado warnings.
Be sure to find us across social media, and don't forget to download the free Red Zone Weather app and set up your customized alerts. Please support our Red Zone Weather sponsors who make our coverage possible every single day.